So what's the average cost of insurance for a young driver? And when we say young driver, we're talking about 16, 17, 18, and 19-year-olds. If you are 17, 18, or 19, you guys are going to typically have a price within about $100 of each other. Depending the older you get, the cheaper it tends to be. So I actually was reviewing an article from zebra.com where they go over the ages and the companies that they recommend. And I thought I'd give my advice on this because I have dealt fairly significantly with the different young ages on this channel specifically. I've got about 4 or 5 videos that actually go over discounts and helping you guys get the best rates, companies, and recommendations. I'll link those videos actually either up here or down below, along with a company that you can do a quote with.
Go check it out! Go check it out!
So to start off, there's about 10 different companies that they recommend that you look at, and there's different price ranges. I'm going to go through a few of them and explain some of the benefits and the negatives of each of them and give my recommendation at the very end of this. I'm going to give my opinion and my advice for you guys too, just so you have someone that's been experienced with actually quoting ages from 16 all the way up to 78 plus years old, and it gives you kind of an idea of which ones I would lean towards. Now these aren't in any particular order, but we're starting off with Allstate. Depending on the state you're in, this makes a huge difference. Allstate is kind of an average overall decent company. There's nothing specific about them that stands out that makes them better than another. Their claims are really decent. They have an overall standpoint where they're a large enough company and they don't just overspend on advertising. So you're not paying them to grow their company as much as you're paying them to have your insurance. They're averaging roughly just under $3,500 per 6 months, which is fairly expensive in comparison to some of the companies that we're going to talk about. Allstate tends to be a good company overall, but they kind of tie with the next company, which is Farmers Insurance. And Farmers Insurance I've actually had the experience of dealing with in the past quite a bit. They're a really good company. They train their reps really well, but they're still expensive. They're also in that $3,000 to $3,500 range for that age. Personally, just because of the price, I would knock both of those out. Now, one of the options that actually surprised me because they put them in about $4,200 to $4,300 is Progressive. I've actually had really good luck with Progressive, and in this video, I actually named them last year one of the best companies for 2020. I'm going to be doing more future videos on them because overall, they tend to be one of the best with higher risks. Typically, young drivers are higher risk due to their age and the risk that they bring being new to driving. And Progressive, I would say, in a handful of states is way cheaper than the $4,200 that they're claiming. So I wouldn't knock this one out of the ballpark just because of my experience with them. I would say they're going to be a good fit as a backup option. In some states, sometimes the best option. And now we start getting into some of the competitiveness. We've got Nationwide. Nationwide isn't typically super competitive when you haven't had insurance, unless you're new to insurance. If you just bought a car or you just started driving, they actually have kind of an open door where they give you a really good rate for that. And they're averaging right around that $2,400 every 6 months. So you're talking just around that $300 a month price range. Now that's still pretty high in my opinion. It is a new driver, I get that part, but if you're gonna do full coverage on the car and you're still paying $300+ a month, that might not be worth it. In a lot of these states, what I've actually been surprised to find on my personal channel is especially states like Florida, a little bit of California, and different other states that State Farm has come in competitive. They're right around that $1,700 to $1,800 range every 6 months. So you're starting to get down in that $200 to $250 range per month, which is starting to get more manageable. That's actually starting to become more of a common, like the normal policy that you would pay, whether you're 25 or older. So you're starting to get into the normal rating.
I am a man.
But the two that take the cake in this process is going to be USAA, which is my first choice of these two, and then there is Geico. Geico, if you have ever asked me a question on this channel, if you're young, 9 times out of 10, Geico is a really good fit. But USAA If you have someone that you know that's tied to the government or the military, that's the only way to get into that door. You almost have to have a way in, otherwise they don't typically insure outside of that group of people. Now, if that's not the case, then you need to go towards the Geico policy. And Geico has been really competitive in a lot of states. Now, they are out of some states, so to speak, and what I mean by that is you may find that you go to their website and they make you call a 1-800 number and they give you the runaround. Essentially what that means is you're in a state that they really just don't want to insure. You can get the quote, you'll probably have to do it by hand through the mail, talk to someone on the phone and cross your fingers, and you might get that great deal, but there's gonna be some steps that you have to plan ahead in some states. Other states, if you go to geico.com and you type in the information, you may luck out and they might actually give you a good rate because they're averaging right around that $1,500 and below range, so you might have those options to go with. I'm actually gonna link below another option where you can check multiple companies at once, where they do a quick shop for you and they usually have 1 or 2 companies reach out to you to find out if they are a fit. Most of it's done through text. So if you're the type of person like myself that would prefer to text versus phone call, they're gonna give you a quote right then and there. You can see what options you guys have.
She's calling him?
She was born in the 80s. She still uses her phone as a phone. Uh-oh.
Now there's a ton of ways that you can lower these prices, and this might be why Progressive ends up coming in pretty competitive at the end of the process, because they offer Snapshot where you're gonna save $100 to $150 just for signing up for that thing. You can get more discounts as you go if you can prove your driving records and your driving habits to be good. They're gonna give you discounts for that. Paying in full, a good student discount, getting good grades. There's a ton of different things that you can discounts for. And what I'm gonna do, instead of going over it in this video, I'm gonna link up a video here so you guys can go over those discounts. Keep in mind, a lot of these coverage that we're talking about does not include you getting into accidents. So if you're in that 17, 18, 19 age range and you have had an accident, we're gonna have to look at some different options. If you're age 25 or older, go ahead and click the video here where I'm gonna go over some of these similar options where you have, and you can choose companies, and I'll also recommend those as well. Hopefully this was helpful, guys. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want more advice and more discounts that we talk about. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of the information. Otherwise, I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.